So we go hot tag, and we bring in our buddy Parky. And how you holding up, sir?
Morning, John. Doing great. Doing great. So who's winning this weekend?
The Bears.
The Bears are certainly winning.
Yeah. I would not be doing my due diligence if I did not start by asking a question about that banner over your left shoulder. With what was brought forth by Pablo Torre and WPRI TV over the last couple of days involving the Kawhi Leonard situation, I will leave the floor to you, and you can address it however you wish. When the news came out that it did, what was your response, and I guess how much did you know of this?
None. And I guess financing and all the money stuff is not my forte, because I read a little bit about it. I didn't pay too much attention to the program, because while our name was mentioned and involved because of Kawhi, I think it's more on him as a person than it is on us as a business. So I kind of think it's much ado about nothing, but again, there are other people more involved with that side of stuff, so I kind of leave it to them. But I don't think we are implicated in anything or did anything wrong. So
Okay.
I didn't lose any sleep.
Okay. Hey, I if I needed to do my due diligence,
Of course.
to put that to the table for you, and thank you for your candor. It is that time where we are now second half of the season, Major League Soccer, and getting into the money part of the schedule. But with you and with what you're doing at Beyond Goals, I thought it was really interesting. I noticed that there was a video that was posted by you the other day, a couple days ago, and you were reminding folks who are of a high school age, like the rising senior, about, if you're not getting looks and you're not, don't freak out, basically, if you're not getting looks or you're not getting the looks you think you should be getting at this point because you're heading into your senior season in high school. When you have these conversations with your mentees, what's the level of freaking out? Is everyone confident in their place? Is everyone are folks trying to figure out their path? Where are the levels of the rising seniors trying to get to that next level? Where are they in being assured of their futures and what those steps need to be?
Yeah, we've got some that are already committed that are going to be juniors, and we've got some that have got a ton of interest that are going to be seniors, and then we've got some that have gone to some ID camps, have played here and there, and there's some minor interest, but nothing on the table. And I think for them and their parents, it's stressful. And so, it was just a little reminder of, hey, the path might not be exactly what you envisioned or envision currently, but there's a lot of pathways out there right now. So it was just a little reminder. And just because Rhode Island FC had brought on the player and I looked at his background and saw that he went to a JUCO, I was like, hey, this is great.
Well, and at the same time, you don't want a mentee to, and my mom's going to kill me for this because it's a double negative, to not be yourself. You don't want to not be yourself. That's where I was going with this. You don't want to try to. It's like, okay, you're this person on tape and you've been this kind of individual as you're getting to the point to where you're a junior or a rising senior, and you think that you're not getting the looks you should get. So then the first thought by that high schooler might be, okay, I've got to change who I am. And that would be more detrimental because these schools, they don't see me they're looking for something else. I should try and be that person instead of who I am. And that might set you back even further in your quest to try to get to the next level.
Totally. Yeah, you have to stick to what you're good at and not change who you are as a player and find the right program for you. Because you may be a very good player that doesn't fit in every single program. Right? I didn't play for every coach who loves me. So doesn't mean I was a bad player, but to each their own, right? So And another pathway that I haven't really touched on that much is the gap year program, which are getting bigger, especially now with this 5 and 5, where you can take a gap year and still have 4 years of eligibility. So there's more programs out there that are providing like this gap year. I don't know what to say, gap year
opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity is a good word.
Well, and also because of recruiting and trickle down and NIL and all these kinds of things, you've got a lot of these Division I athletes that think they're D1 athletes, and in a normal world, all things being equal, they are. But because of NIL and where things go in recruiting, then you get that trickle down of, okay, so these Division I schools, they're locked in and they've gotten their folks and they've gotten all their transfers from all this place, and that creates opportunities in the mid majors. And then the mid majors get theirs, and then that creates opportunities in 1AA. I dated myself. Sorry, FCS, and then Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO, or overseas or whatever. So you've got to be nimble, I think, as both parents and student athletes these days too.
Yeah, and it's tough to be nimble, right? There's a lot of people out there that, hey, I want to plan. This is what we're doing. This is what we wanted to do, and here we are. And go to a university and spend 4 to 5 years there and play on the team and graduate and do all those things. But it doesn't look like that for the majority of athletes. And so wrapping their head around other alternatives and options is, first is the education piece, and second is the buy-in. So getting there with some.
How hard is it to, because you mentioned education and buy-in, and I would imagine that education is the easy part in a lot of aspects, but they've got to want to listen. That's the other part in this. It's like you can tell them all the information. You could be 100% correct in your observations, but they've got to want to listen, and they've got to want to understand what's going on and not be, stubborn about, what they want to do, and they just end up banging their head against the wall because of it.
Totally. And to further complicate it, it's two parties, right? You have to get it from the parents, but also the athlete. Right? The parents can understand it, see it, be all in on it, but the athlete is like, no, I don't want to take a gap year. No, I don't want to go to a D3. And then they cross off that until it's too late. And, so yeah, it's a challenge sometimes, but hey, all we can go out there is provide some opportunities, show them what's out there, help them to our best of ability. And, everybody finds their way eventually.
And you definitely hope that's the case, because you don't want someone who is talented mistake an opportunity and leave it to the side and then be caught having to come back into a process and then become soured on the whole thing because of what they thought they were able to do, couldn't do, and then I've got to go back in. And you don't want to lose that kind of individual to all of the machinations that are currently going on.
Totally. And the other big point I tell them is it doesn't matter what level you play at. The experience of being on a team in college and making friends and being part of that group is unlike anything else you'll experience in life. And so it's such an awesome opportunity, no matter what level you're at, to be part of that team and have that experience.
Okay, let me steer it. Let me smash into the guardrail here and go to my next topic. All right, so obviously right now, this weekend, we just had Dave Leno on before you came on. Dave's the radio voice for Philadelphia. Atlanta and Philly, they're playing this weekend. Both teams bottom of the table in the Eastern Conference. And Jason did a really cool piece this week about where Atlanta United is trying to piece things together here and, work on the fly to try to improve and go up the standings and everything. And the idea of bringing folks together, you've got the young guys who have been through the academy. They're working their way up. Fafa Pico, who apparently is now called Unc. He's like the older uncle that's a part of this. And he's kind of like the overseer of like golf and all these other activities to try to get to know each other. How difficult is it when you have all these new guys coming in to try and integrate, to try to understand where everybody's coming from quickly, so you can get the personality part out of the way and then work on those personalities on the field? This seems like you're juggling a bunch of different chainsaws here in a difficult situation.
For sure. It's a bit of a mess from the outside looking in. And It is challenging, but there is a really good benefit to bringing in new blood in that they're not used to what's going on right now, right? There's players that have been there all season and maybe even last season as well. And I'm not saying they're used to losing, but they're not surprised or, they still go into each game wanting to win. But as soon as things go poorly, in the back of their head, they're like, oh, here we go again. Versus the new guys have no understanding of what the last years have been like and what the last months have been like. So sometimes that fresh attitude is welcomed inside a locker room. It can help turn things around. So even the technical side on the field apart, just the mentality of some new blood sometimes is good. But I will give them credit that staying together as a team is the toughest thing to do when things aren't going well. It sounds like they're doing it, relatively well, and it's never going to be perfect. Right? If Joseph was on that team, everyone probably would hate him because of the competitor that he is. So that was always a tough challenge for us when we were going through some tough stretches, and it's difficult. Gosh, it's difficult. I feel for the guys that are on the team.
Well, and when you're going through something difficult, and you got different personalities, and I know that some folks are probably gung-ho 100% in this stereotypic locker room that we're talking about. And how do you keep someone who might be a rah-rah guy from getting to you? Because you're there, you want to do your job, you want to do it great, but that's not your personality. How do you keep the guys that are like 180 degrees from you from getting to you and turning it into a negative to just understanding who they are and how they're driven?
Yeah, so tough. And when we were in moments like this, it's really tough to know where's that balance between still supporting guys and still having a good attitude versus like MF and everybody saying this isn't good enough and like F you and F this, trying like, hey, I'm not going to be happy that we're losing, right? I'm not going to be happy that we are at the bottom of the table and I'm going to go into training, right? And I'm not going to be all giddy like I am if we were at the top of the table. And that's just more of a mentality thing of, hey, I'm pissed off about where we are and what's going on versus do I still put the smile on? Do I still have a great attitude? Do I seem like this is okay? Or, what gets us out of this quicker, right? It's really difficult to know, right? Because I think guys are afraid probably to smile sometimes at training when things are going like this. But also I understand that, right? Should you be happy where things are right now? It's really, really difficult internal battle, I think, figuring out just the emotional response when the team is like in a situation that you're in right now.
And the mogul in training that you are, as we continue to smash guardrails this morning, you re-signed Koke Vegas and a couple others to extensions. Is that right?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Koke, Hugo, one other, Amos, guys that are really important to our roster, the core group. Koke's been phenomenal for us, such a great human being and captain. Amos and Hugo have been really, really big parts of our team. So, we don't want these guys hitting free agency. So we want to take care of them. And so, yeah, happy to do that. And we just loaned out a player to FC Dallas, which we're proud of, and hope he crushes it. It hurts us, obviously. He's a tough guy to replace, but that's what we're here for. We want guys to develop and move on. So really happy about that.
North of the playoff bar in the Eastern Conference is what we like to see. As always, my friend, great to see you, and we will catch up with you soon. Thanks for dropping by for the lightning round here on a Friday.
You got it, John. Have a good weekend.